there. Welcome to Ottawa Experts. Today we're going to talk about life coaching. My name's Moira and I'm a life coach and a hypnotherapist. I particularly specialize in areas of stress management and mindfulness coaching. My passion is to help people become unstuck. Because you know, when you're stuck, you're just basically fixated on the problem that exists. So tonight I'm really privileged to have two guests with me. We're going to have conversations about what coaching is and what coaching isn't. So I'd like to introduce you to my first guest, is Anne Max. Anne is the president at, her company is Productive to the Max, and she is also the founder of the LEAP Summit. Welcome, Anne. Thank you so much for coming.
Thank you very much. I'm just delighted to be here.
Thank you. So Anne, I just mentioned about the LEAP Summit. That, I think, is a really great point for us to start, because it just happened and it was really all about coaching. Can you share a wee bit with us and with the listeners what your intention was with that?
I'd be delighted to. The LEAP Summit stands for Life Enhancement and Productivity. And what I found that in my coaching practice, I was coaching especially women individually, and I found as I was doing that, you know, they were very, like I noticed that, oh, this person I'm coaching has really the same issues as this person I'm coaching, and they have similar personalities, and my goodness, wouldn't I like to put them together?
In the same room.
In the same room, but
Yeah.
of course, because coaching is so confidential,
Absolutely.
it's very, very difficult to do that.
Yeah.
But I had experience with coaching circles for executive women. I'd been doing that for a couple of years, and they had been very, very successful. And one of the groups they still meet on a regular basis, and they're friends, and they accomplished all their goals, and it was very successful. So I thought I would like to start this with the people that I am working with, and hopefully with other people. So I wanted to establish coaching circles of different types of women, different ages, different issues. And I thought, how am I going to launch this? So we decided to have a LEAP Summit. So the summit was held at the Hampton. It was on September 12th. It was all day. And the purpose of the summit, and I called it an unconference. Because you know, an unconference. Because you know, when you go, I'm a speaker and I speak all over the world. And when I go to conferences, I find that people just are bombarded by PowerPoint, by speakers, and you don't have a chance to sort of discuss what the speaker has talked about before you're on to the next one, okay? Or there's thousands of people and you can't network, and it's really very difficult. So I thought, I'm going to have a very different conference. It's going to be an unconference. And you're going to get to meet everybody there. You're going to be moved around, and it's going to show you the 4 different aspects of LEAP. The LEAP coaching process. So who you are, where you are now, where you want to go, how are you going to get there, and how you're going to overcome the obstacles. Awesome. So we had 3 wonderful speakers, and the first one was Kathy Donovan, and she talked about where you are, who you are, and then we did an exercise with everybody. So they could get to discuss what she did, and they could get to discuss amongst themselves, who are you? The deep questions, you know, what did you want to be when you grow up? What do you want to be when you grow up? What's working for you, what's not? All kinds of the deep questions that we don't have time to talk about.
No, but it's so important to start having those conversations, because that's a big part of my coaching too, is that those questions that we don't ask ourselves, those are the ones that are keeping you awake at night.
That's right. And that was the elephant in the room type of thing.
Yeah, exactly.
What's keeping you awake?
Yeah.
But you see, we're frightened of that.
I know.
And when people, you know, I'm a productivity coach, life enhancement and productivity. So when people talk to me, they say to me, you know, I just want to know some tips and tricks on time management and how to be productive in my life. But until you know who you are, where you're going, what you're doing,
I know.
I say it's like putting perfume on a pig. You don't know really. Sounds terrible, but you really don't know. You don't have the basic foundation for it to
You're
adhere
so
to.
right there. I think of a client that I worked with a couple years ago who had called me up and said, fix this one piece in my life that's not working. Something in his work was not working for him. He wasn't making his targets. Just fix this one part. And I was saying, well, I need to help you with all aspects because we are all whole people. We think that there's this one issue and then you can have a coach that'll just say, okay, let's fix this and everything's good. It's not the way it is. So that's what I think is so awesome about what you're talking about, is that it has to be all aspects.
Yes. And it sort of centers you. As you talk about yourself, it puts you in the mode, it centers you, it allows you to communicate. So then you can go on to the other aspects. So we had speakers on each of the aspects, and then we had exercises. But I think the best part of it, and the evaluations were excellent on all aspects, even
That's
the food
awesome.
was good, yeah, was we had a discussion on obstacles. And we had a speaker on obstacles who was a midwife who had moved from an urban center into a rural center and brought all her wonderful stories with her. But she had obstacles. So everybody was to pick a goal and pick an obstacle. And then we had coaching circles. You were one of our coaches. Annie Tenbolt was one of our coaches. And they went along to each coach for a certain amount of time. And the coaches helped them with their obstacles in certain aspects of their life. Finance and spiritual. And they absolutely loved it. And they've asked for a 2-day program next year.
Which I think is going to be really powerful. I as a coach, I loved the circles, and I mentioned this to you myself.
That's
was
right.
we found them too short.
Yeah.
But one of the things that was really awesome about those round table, somebody came up to me afterwards. I didn't get to her question or to talk about her obstacle, but she came up to me afterwards and she says, Moira, I got my answer because of what you said to somebody else.
And that's what's the beauty.
Yeah, isn't that awesome?
Yeah, and that's what the beauty is of coaching circles, because they're a combination mentoring, mastermind, and coaching. So you not only get the coach's viewpoint, but you get the viewpoint from all your colleagues and what has happened with them, and they bring their experience and their support to this. And that's what made it, the coaching circles that we did, so wonderful. And sometimes there's commonalities and sometimes there isn't, but they really created a bond. And I think that people need to go to that depth in order to change their behavior.
Absolutely, because you can't change behavior on the surface. You have to get right underneath. As a hypnotherapist, this is where I go, is right into the subconscious part of what's keeping that habit stuck, or what's making you stuck, right?
Right.
You have to go all the way.
You do.
But it has to feel right. You have to feel safe. And so I think that you really achieved that with those coaching circles. I was impressed at the level of vulnerability people got to.
I know, it's interesting, you know, when we're coaches, it's sort of difficult to market yourself because they say, why are you different from someone else? And you know, you can write down everything on a website and get all the wonderful testimonials. But I think one of the things that has come out from my clients who say to me, I instantly feel safe with you.
Yeah.
And oh, what a wonderful way to feel.
Yeah.
And that came immediately at the conference. We had an icebreaker.
Yeah.
And we had 50 people who didn't know each other. I told you the level of volume was like, and they were absolutely wonderful. And somebody said to me today, we were talking about the conference, she said, I didn't meet enough people.
Yeah.
During the icebreaker, I want a longer icebreaker. But just, you know, to come in not knowing anybody and all of a sudden be that vulnerable, I think I achieved my goal of an unconference that way.
Yeah, you did.
But that's hard to market, you know?
Very hard to market. And don't you find that even talking about this, that coaching is hard to market? Because I get that a lot too. In fact, I have a hard time sometimes explaining to people what I do, but it's then in having a conversation with me or allowing them to feel what it feels like to park that stress or that problem and dig deeper, because I have so many tools and techniques that I do that with.
Right.
But it's about getting out there and having a little taste.
Yes. And that's what we provided at the conference. And the fact that people said they wanted a bigger one and a better one meant they liked the taste. Now they want the whole thing. And so what we're going to do is we're going to start, we have enough people, I think, to start creating the coaching circles. We're also going to have monthly meetings. So for those who went to the summit and for those who couldn't go, we're starting to have monthly meetings, and they will also get a taste. They won't be a typical networking meeting at all.
Nice.
They'll get a taste of how to deal with certain aspects of their life.
Awesome.
So we're going to be planning those very, very soon and very, very
quickly.
quickly.
So this is like a coaching service that you're providing for, for people.
Yeah.
That's great. That's
because some people can, want to come to an individualized coaching session.
Yeah.
Other people want to come to the coaching circles. Other people don't have time or maybe the finances, so they prefer to come maybe to the monthly sessions, or they can come to all three, and then they know that when they come to the LEAP conference, they really know what to expect.
Yes.
And they'll go much deeper. We had a lot of people who wanted to come because of the timing of the conference, which will change next year. They couldn't, so we're going to move it further into the fall.
I think with those kind of things, you do have to pick a time, and there's so many things on in Ottawa that it's sometimes hard to please everybody to get it. But I love the idea that you're basically setting a tribe, as they call it in the coaching. This is the tribe.
This
setting.
is the tribe, yes. Yes.
But it's because coaching is still relatively new, and I don't know about you, but people kind of confuse coaching with counseling.
They do.
They do.
And it's a fine line, and I'm asked that very often, and I am very cognizant of that fact. As a matter of fact, when we had a coaching circle at the conference, I was the productivity coach, and I was talking to someone, and I asked sort of the questions that I felt I could help with, and then I realized they were all answered properly, and so I said to the person, this is much deeper than I can handle, and we have to talk about sending you out for counseling. And you have to be very careful as a coach not to get into that area which you are not qualified for.
Yes. Yeah.
And I'm very cognizant of that.
Yeah.
Yeah.
So what do you do as a coach when you start, like if you were doing a one-on-one session and it took a nosedive into somewhere where you didn't feel qualified to deal with, what would you as a coach do?
Oh, I would suggest that I would state that, I can help you with this, or I have helped you with this, but I feel now we're into an area where I don't have the expertise. And so I'm going to suggest, I'll give you some, and I always give them suggestions. I have people who I know, and I'm great at referrals, and I will refer you to someone who can help you. And as a matter of fact, someone from the conference called me for help with an issue, and she said, can you do this? And I said, no. Yeah. But today I gave her 2 names.
Good for you.
Of people who could, Oh no, I'm not going there. That's one of the things that when you're good at something, I find, starting off as a productivity expert and then going into this life enhancement and productivity coaching, I find if people like the way you speak or like the way you train or like the way you coach, they want you for everything.
Yes.
So, you're so good at teaching us about, what do you do with your 86,400 seconds, or talking about generations. So I'm having a course on elephants next week, and you're such a good speaker and trainer. How about it?
You talk about elephants.
Yeah.
Yeah.
So no way, okay? I want to stick with what I know, what I'm good at. I do a lot of research. I'm always on top of things, and my clients give me, just all the information that I need. So I'm not going to waste my time on something that I'm not good at. So we'll send somebody who knows elephants to
absolutely.
do that.
And that's something that I can totally relate to in my own business. I pretty much always have at least 1 or 2 courses on the go for personal development, because for me, my passion is this, it's my own get unstuck story, and I'm a hypnotherapist and an energy worker and a life coach. So I want to be on the cutting edge at all times, because that's what people will get attracted to me and, like you just said, want me to deal with everything. But you have to say, no, this is the area. And then what happens though, I don't know if this happened to you, is that once they get one thing fixed, other things fall away.
Yes.
Do you know what I mean?
Yeah, especially with productivity.
I can do.
It helps. It's wonderful.
Please stay tuned and Anne and I are going to talk some more about coaching, what it is and what it isn't, and what it means to design success one step at a time. See you in a minute.